Hi, I'm Sarah Court. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I live here in Los Angeles and I work with patients here locally, but then also I work with other patients virtually all over the world, teaching them how to lift heavy with barbells. And so there's a lot of myths around barbells for women in particular, and the idea that it's going to make you bulky, or that you're going to hurt yourself because it's dangerous, or that they're just not for women, they're for men. But I want to talk about how those are all totally untrue. So one of the biggest fears I think that women have around lifting heavy weights is that they're going to get bulky, that you're suddenly like overnight just going to turn into the Hulk, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the thing is, there's a couple of things. One is that's not true. I wish it was. I've been trying to make my arms bigger for literally years and they just aren't cooperating. There's going to be a natural limit that your body has, but here's what I think is actually more interesting. What is wrong with bulky? Why are we fear-mongering bulky? And so I say instead, I would like to get as bulky as I can. I am here to have a bulky girl summer, and if somebody doesn't like it, that's not my problem. That's how I feel about bulky. So the second myth around lifting heavy, especially with barbells, is that if you're a woman, you're gonna hurt yourself. That's just rude. If you look around the gym, with all due respect, it's not a bunch of Nobel Prize winners. So if they can figure it out, what's to say that I can't figure it out? The way that people injure themselves is by progressing too fast and too heavy, right? But if you're following a program that just takes you along a natural, smart kind of progression and overload, you're gonna be totally fine. The other myth around barbells is that they're for men and they're not for women. And if you are a woman going into a gym, you know there's certain areas of it, right? There's the areas where like the classes happen, and that looks like maybe something that you're used to doing, right? You've done a Pilates class, or you've done a yoga class, groups of women, the people in the class look like you, right? So you're like, well, that's where I belong. And then over here, in the barbell department are, and again, all due respect, I say this sort of kidding, but sort of not, they're the ogres and the orcs and the trolls and like just people who do not look like you. So then, it's gonna take a lot of self-confidence, just march on in there and be like, how does this work, right? And so a lot of women are really put off because there's just not a lot of representation. You don't see a lot of other women lifting barbells, but the nice thing is I'm actually starting to notice more and more women lifting bars. So I think the more women we see lifting heavy weights, the less scared other women are going to be to do it. I was a yoga teacher for a long time, and I kind of reached the limit of what I could do as a teacher, and I felt that there was just more that I could offer. So I decided to go back to school for 6 years, and then I became a physical therapist. And then I really, in my career and my work as a PT, my biggest emphasis is getting my patients strong, because I've just found like it fixes the most problems for everybody, and especially for women, especially for my older female clients who probably have never lifted weights before, weren't ever encouraged to, and are now finding that like daily activities, just things like, going to the store, they have to lie down and take a nap because they're not, they're too tired afterwards. And so helping a lot of women discover how just getting a little bit stronger has this sort of ripple effect through your whole life and makes a huge change in what you can do and how you feel about yourself.